Well, hello, everyone. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome in. Glad to see a few of you joining already. Hopefully you guys got the notifications or soon to be getting the notifications, but welcome in. Hopefully you guys all had a wonderful New Year celebration. I apologize for being absent. I have a little bit of a cold still hanging on and a bit of a cough, so I apologize if that interrupts us today. But back on track here for the new year, and we are ready to do some fun nails today. So today I'm actually going to be using our Synergy Gel system, and we're going to be doing, the design I kind of came up with for today really reminds me of a kind of a frozen lake in the wintertime. You guys, I'm in Minnesota here, and so I'm used to these frozen lakes, and so we're going to do kind of a cracked ice kind of a look today. So just getting my nails ready to go here. Let's see who is joining us today. Oh, lots of new names. Lots of new names in the chat. You guys make sure if you are new here to our community, make sure you subscribe to our channel here so that we can keep giving you guys all this great free education. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. And let's see, lots of familiar names too. So welcome back, everybody. Again, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's and celebrated and had some fun. But time to get back down to business today. So let me show you what all we're going to be using today. I'm going to grab all of my products that we've got. And for those of you that may be new to our channel, also make sure to check out our Discord channel, because that's usually where I will post up what we are going to be working with. So if you want to work along with me, you always know what products we're going to be using. So today, again, like I said, we're going to be using our Synergy Gel system. And that's going to start with our Synergy base gel. So we've got our base. For our building gels, we're going to be using Clear Sculptor in the Precision Applicator tube, and we're also going to be using our Build Pink in the Precision Applicator tube. So those are our main products that we're going to be using for the structure of our nail. And then for our art and our design, of course, we got to have some beautiful glitters for the New Year's here. So we're going to be working with Wedding Rumors, which is one of our kind of chunkier mylar kind of glitters. And you'll notice that's got a little bit of a blue tone to it and a little bit more of that kind of gold tone to it as well. So that's going to be kind of our cracked ice look. And then we're going to throw in a little bit more kind of texture and a little bit more blue icy look with our, this one is called Stitches. And these guys are those little kind of rectangular glitters. So let me just show you a little bit of those. So they're not the rounded glitters, they are those little rectangular kind of shapes. So that's going to add to our design today too. We've got our blue liquid art, and you guys, liquid art is our colored monomer. So make sure that you understand that this is not just food coloring, this is our liquid monomer. And we've also got our jewel foil kit. Those of you that have been around our channel for a while, you guys know that I love this kit. This is probably one of my favorite things to use. So we're going to use the silver and the blue from this kit. And then we're also going to be using our chrome, this is the earth tone chrome kit. So those are going to be all of the fun things that we're going to be working with today. So let me just set those off to the side. And again, you guys, I do apologize. I still have a little bit of a cold hanging on, so I still have a little bit of a cough and a stuffy nose here, so bear with me, and I appreciate your wishful, your healthy thoughts today. So we'll go ahead and get started on our nail. We're going to start by pushing back the cuticles, just like we always do with our full sets, with our fills. Always start by pushing back those cuticles, get those nice and cleaned up. And you guys, it really doesn't need to take a long time to push back those cuticles. All I'm doing, just kind of going through, just kind of gently pushing that back. Now, you guys, I know we're working on a trainer hand today, but this is really still all that it's going to take when you're working on your real clients. You don't have to sit there and push and poke and really just kind of gouge out that cuticle area. You don't have to spend a lot of time trying to get all the way up around there. Now, you can if you have a little bit of that dead cuticle that's kind of hanging on there and you need to work at it a little bit more, you can. But keep in mind that we are going to be using our electric file. So you're going to be using the sanding band to clean off a lot of that excess cuticle. Now let me grab a new sanding band. because we always want to make sure that we are using a new sanding band for every service. You want to make sure that you're not trying to sanitize and disinfect these. The sanding bands will kind of fall apart in the sanitation, disinfection, and things like that. So always use a new one. Make sure to grab a clean one. And you also want to make sure that you're using a new one, even if you're just working on yourself, for every set that you do or every fill that you do, because this way you're always going to have that good grit. Now, you guys, let me show you. I just threw away. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you take a look at, this is our new sanding band, and then this is our old sanding band. You can tell that the new one has a lot more grit to it. That older sanding band, that one that we've used on previous nails, that's a little bit more worn down. So you want to make sure that you've got that good new grit to your sanding bands. So always get a fresh one, clean one, a new one for your service. I'm going to put that mandrel all the way down into my handpiece, lock that on there, and then we'll slide that sanding band on there. Now, if you can't push all the way to get that sanding band on there, let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to grab the handpiece and I'm just going to turn it upside down, and this is why I did put that mandrel all the way in. I didn't leave, let me show you guys here. I didn't leave it out very far. I put that all the way in, so that way when I press down, it's not going to push that mandrel in, because you want to make sure that you're not trying to push that mandrel down into that handpiece, because that can actually start to wear on the, let me show you inside. So it can kind of start to wear on the inside here where it grips the bit. Let me see if I can come in nice and close so you guys can see. There we go. So what happens when you lock that handpiece, you'll notice, let me turn that, oops, which way are we turning it here? So when you lock it, you'll actually see that all three of those little pieces inside there come together. When you open and unlock it, it opens up that space. And if you were to put your bit in there, lock it, and then try to push that bit all the way down, and it pushes that bit into the handpiece, again, it can wear out that mechanism that grips onto that bit. So always make sure when you're putting that sanding band on, put the bit all the way down in there to keep it from wearing down, okay? Somebody's asking, what's going on here? You guys, we are starting our demo for a gel nail today. And so we've just pushed back the cuticles, and now I'm gonna remove the shine. And we're going to turn our electric file to about 5,000 RPMs using our brand new sanding band. And I'm just going to come right up around that cuticle area, just lightly making contact with that bit to the nail. And then I'm going to feather all the way through the rest of the surface just to remove that shine. Now, when we're removing shine, the real purpose is to just kind of break up those surface oils in the nail. So we're just kind of breaking up those excess oils that are on the surface. We're not trying to grind away any of that nail. We're not trying to damage anything. We're just lightly removing that shine from the surface, okay? Lots of highs and hellos in the chat there. Thank you guys so much. I always love when you guys participate in the chat, because that helps me to know that you're paying attention and that you know what's going on. So hello, thank you for the greetings today. Love to see that, you guys. All right, we're just going to dust off that nail, get all of that dust cleaned off, and then we're going to take our swipe. And swipe is our cleanser. So let me come back out. So swipe is our cleanser. It's going to clean off. Now that we've kind of broken up those oils, it's really going to help to pull all of those oils off the nail. It's also going to help to kill any germs or bacteria that's on the nail. And it's also going to help to get any last little bits of dust that may be stuck on that nail, or even down along those sidewalls up into that cuticle area. So that's the reason I actually brush downward. You can brush back and forth, but I do brush downward to really make sure that all of that dust gets pulled out from those cuticle areas and from down those sidewalls, okay? So make sure that you get that nail nice and clean before we try to put any product on. If you don't have a clean, well-prepped nail, your artificial enhancement really is not going to have much of a chance of adhering, okay? So at this time, if we take a close look, we're starting to see that that nail is starting to kind of dry back to that chalky look. You can see there's a little bit of moisture right on the side over here still. We're just going to wait just a few more seconds until that completely dries. Now you can start to see that it's really gone back to kind of that dry chalky look. Okay, so before we do our next step, always make sure that it dries back to that chalky look and you don't have any extra moisture on the nail. And the next step we're going to do is our protein bond application. And protein bond is our bonder. With any of our systems, whether it's our acrylic system, our gel system, gel polish, we don't use a primer. Well, technically. So technically we're not using a primer, but we are using a bonder. And that's what protein bond is. It works kind of like a double-sided tape. So it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface to grab onto whatever other product you're putting on top. So like I said, it's not a primer. So primers tend to have methacrylic acid to them, and the primer tends to dry back to a chalky look. But with our protein bond, you're going to be able to see you've got kind of that sticky look to our nail, and that's what's really going to hold on to our enhancement. Now, I always do 2 coats of protein bond when I'm working with acrylics or hard gels or enhancements like that, just because I feel like 2 coats is going to give us a little bit better adhesion than 1 coat. So with your gel manicures and things that aren't needing as much bond, go ahead and do 1 coat. But when you're working with your gels and your acrylics, your hard gels and acrylics, I would definitely recommend 2 coats for you. Okay. And let's see, hello to South Africa. Hello to everybody out there. My goodness, thank you for all joining us. I love seeing it. I love seeing that. All right, so we're going to grab one of our forms, and I've just got our traditional forms today. We're not going to be using our extra long forms, you guys. I know some of you like those XL nails, and we do have the forms if you're wanting to create those really long extensions. But for today, we're going to keep it, I'm not going to say short, but we're not going to go crazy long today. So I'm going to peel off my form from the backing. We're going to take that little tab right out of the center, stick that on the back, and that's going to give our form a little bit more kind of durability and a little bit more firm feel to it. So it's not going to feel so loose and flimsy. Okay. I'm just going to take these 2 little silver tabs at the end. We're going to pinch those together so that it comes together nice and even. You want to make sure that those 2 tabs come together as close to even as possible. You don't want them kind of shifted or lopsided, because if you do get those lopsided, excuse me, if you do get those lopsided, your nail's going to end up lopsided. So you want to make sure, get those pinched together as evenly as you can. And then we're going to be doing we're going to do kind of an almond, let's say an almondetto shape today. So not quite a stiletto to that point all the way down there, but we're not going to do too short of a nail. So we're going to do an almondetto today. Now, on a real client, I will open up that top perforation, so just kind of peel that away there. And then we're going to start with our form at just a slight downward angle. So let me bring the camera in a little closer here. There you go, you can see a little better. So we're going to start with that form at just a slight downward angle. We're going to catch that form right up under that free edge, and then we're going to just rock that form right up. Okay, now you guys, I'm showing you from the side view. When I'm working on my client, I'm actually going to be holding my form in this direction. Okay, so I usually hold from here. Let me come in a little closer there. So again, I usually hold my form from here, get that form up underneath there, and just kind of lift up on that free edge or underneath that form there. So that way it's just going to kind of slide right up so that it's flush up underneath that natural nail, and then I'll secure it down on the sides here. Okay, make sure that you got that form really secure on the side so it's not going to fall off. And then I'm also just going to kind of give that form a little bit more of a pinch underneath to really make sure I've got that nice tight curve to my form. I don't want my form kind of flaring out. And what I mean by that, let me show you guys here really quick. So what I mean by flaring out is if we get that form, we'll pinch that together. Do you see how it looks kind of wide through the sides here? If I were to put that form on, let's grab another finger here. This one may fall off because the nail is kind of dusty here, but do you see how it looks kind of wide here through the sides versus this one looks a little bit more tapered, a little bit more narrow? This is what you want. You want it to look very narrow and very tapered underneath there, because otherwise you're going to end up with a nail that's going to look wide on the sides. So just kind of give it a little pinch underneath, so that way you get a little bit of a tighter C curve under that free edge. Okay. All right, you guys, we've got our nail prepped. We are ready to go. Let's grab our gels. So again, I'm going to start with my base gel. I got my base. I'm also going to grab my clear sculptor, and I'm going to grab my mixing tile because we're going to be doing some mixing. And our blue liquid art. I'm actually going to set that over to the side here so I don't knock that over. And then I've also got my mixing spatula. So we're going to start with our base gel. And those of you that normally watch our videos, or my videos anyways, I usually start by building out the free edge first, and then I'll put the base over the whole nail. Today we're going to be doing it a little bit different. So today I'm actually going to start with my base over the natural nail first, and then we're going to build the extension. And I'll show you guys here why in just a second. But when we're working over that natural nail, we're just going to take a little bit of that base gel. We don't need a lot. Let me come in a little closer. And I'm just going to use my brush and just kind of pressing that base down onto the nail, really getting that base gel down into all the little nooks and crannies of the nail. Now, with our gel, with our base gel, I should say, we're really just pressing that in. We're kind of using a good amount of pressure with the brush. You can kind of see the brush as I press down. It kind of fans it out a little bit, kind of bends that brush a little bit. With our building gels, we tend to float our gel a little bit more, but with our base gel, we do want to use that pressure because that's how we're going to get that gel, like I said, all the way down into all those little nooks and crannies of the nail, okay? So we are going to get this into our light. Let me come back out here. I'll show you what we're doing here. So I've got my curing light over here. Actually, I don't think I have this one turned on. And this one, I think my battery on this one probably needs to be charged. So I'm going to switch over to my other light. So on the other side here, I've got my other light. This one was just plugged in, so I know that this one is charged up really well. So this one we're going to put into the light for just 30 seconds. All right, so that one's going to freeze in the light for 30 seconds. While that one's curing in there, we're going to do some mixing. And you guys, mixing with gels is so much fun. If you haven't mixed your gels and glitters and all kinds of fun things yet, you're in the right place to learn how. So we're going to start with, let me grab all of my goodies here today. I'm going to start with our glitters. I'm going to get our foils here. And so we got our silver and our blue. Our base gel, you heard the little beep there. Our base gel is done curing. And let's see, what else do I need? I need my liquid art. Okay, so these are all of the things that we're going to mix into our gel today. So I'm going to start with my clear sculptor. And you guys, you can use the clear sculptor, you can use flex, you can use build pink, whatever you want to, whichever one is going to work best for you. I'm just going to start with the clear sculptor just because that's what I've got right here next to me. And before I do anything, I got a little bit of dust on my mixing tile, so I'm going to grab my onto the next polish remover. And I'm just going to use a little bit of that to clean this off. I want to make sure that I've got a nice clean palette to work on here. I don't want any dust or anything in there. So just cleaning that off so there's no dust or anything. All right, I'm going to make sure that's nice and dry. And then we're going to just squeeze out a little bit of that clear sculptor. Okay, maybe a good amount of the clear sculptor. Just depends on how many nails you guys are going to be doing. So if you're going to be doing more than a couple of nails here, you're probably going to need a little more gel than this. But for today, we're just going to do one nail. So that's all we really need. Now, let's start with, you guys, do you want to start with the sparkly things or the color first? Let me know in the chat, sparkly or color first. And then we'll go from there. But you got to let me know in the chat. Okay, somebody's asking where are the products from. You guys, all of the products that I'm using here today, this is our Young Nails channel. So all of the products are Young Nails. Everything that you're seeing me use, you can get on our website, youngnails.com. So you can get all of the glitters, you can get the foils, you can get the liquid art, all of it on youngnails.com. Okay, so I'm seeing... All right, I'm seeing a little bit of both. You guys want the sparkly, you want the color. I think we're going to start with the color today. We'll go with that. And you guys don't worry, I'm going to add everything in there. Yeah, we don't have time for a poll, Ellie. I know, I thought about that for a second, but no time for a poll. We got to get into this now. And, all right, so we're going to start with our liquid art. Now, you guys, when you get your bottles of liquid art, they come with the little cap on them, and they come with an eyedropper. The biggest mistake you can make is to leave your eyedropper in the bottle. So always replace this cap when you're using the liquid art. Don't just leave the eyedropper in, because these can evaporate through the eyedropper, okay? You want to make sure that you're not just leaving that dropper in there and letting that evaporate. So we're going to take just a little bit of our liquid art. Now again, you guys, liquid art is colored monomer, so it's like what you would use for your acrylics, but we are going to be mixing this into our gel, and it's okay, it will work just fine. Again, I'm putting that cap back on, seal that nice and tight, so A, you don't spill it, but then B, you're not going to, your liquid art isn't going to evaporate, okay? So I took just a couple of drops into my gel, and let me come in a little bit closer here for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to take my little spatula here and just kind of start to spread that gel and mix that liquid art into my gel. Now again, if you're just joining us, first of all, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But if you're just joining us and you didn't hear me say earlier that this is colored monomer, this is not food coloring, you guys. You make sure you're not trying to mix food coloring or anything like that into your gels. This is a nail product, okay? So make sure that you are using actual nail products on your nails, not just trying to be a kitchen chemist, as we like to call it. So make sure that you're using the liquid art, not just, you know, things like that you find in the kitchen. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of mixing through, making sure that all of that liquid art gets mixed in. So if I look at this from the side now, you can see there's no streaks of that liquid art in there anymore. It's all completely incorporated in there, okay? And again, somebody else is asking, where can I find this? You guys, all of this product that I'm using today is Young Nails, so youngnails.com. That is exactly where you can find this. There's a little bit left in my eyedropper. I'm just going to squeeze that out. Just going to mix that in really, really quick one last time. Okay, so we've got our color in there. So those of you that voted to do the color first, you got your color in there. Now we're going to take our sparkly things. So I'm going to grab, let's start with our foils. So I'm going to grab a little bit of our foil. And again, you guys, those of you that watch our channel, you know that I absolutely love the foils. They're probably one of my favorite things to use. Today, I'm just going to grab a little bit of that out of the container. We're going to put that right down into that gel. I'm going to grab a little bit of our blue. Let me grab that one off my finger. Grab a little bit of the blue. Same thing, I'm just going to kind of grab a little bit in there, put that down into our gel, and let me get a better view for you so you can see. So again, I'm just going to mix these into that gel, and you're going to start to see all of that sparkle get in there. And just by mixing, it kind of breaks up that foil. So just a really fun kind of a way of using your foils, just adding those in to your gel. So now you can see we've got that foil kind of sparkling in there. You guys, I always say this, but camera just doesn't do these colors justice. So hopefully you guys can see the sparkle in there, but I'm just telling you, it's not as sparkly as it is in person. So, all right, so we've got that glitter, or that sparkle in there. Let's add now our Mylar and then our other little shreds of glitter here. So I'm just gonna grab, I'm just gonna use my nail here. So you guys, I'm just going to take a little scoop of our Mylar, and yes, I'm using my nail for this. My hands are clean, I promise. And you guys, there's no actual chemical in the glitter, so I don't have to worry about getting product on my skin or anything like that. So it's okay if I'm just, you know, taking a little bit of that glitter out. Not a big deal. And this glitter is, let's see, this one was Wedding Rumors. So if you guys are looking for that, and then our next one that we're going to use is called Stitches. And this is the kind of those longer rectangular threads. And we'll take a little bit of that in there as well. And I think that looks good. Let's see. Somebody's asking, where are you guys located? Young Nails is located in Anaheim, California. And you guys, again, you can order any of the products. If you're in the US, you can order all of the products online at youngnails.com. If you're outside the US, we do have other distributors, but head to our US website, and all the way down at the bottom, there's a little link that will show you where you can find all of our international distributors. So check that out as well. All right, we're just mixing in that Mylar and that foil and all of those good sparkly things into our gel. I think I want to thin this out just a little bit. I think my blue got a little bit darker than what I wanted. So I'm going to grab, and I could add either my clear Sculptor, which I started with, or I think I'm going to add just a little bit of my Build Pink. And you guys, the Build Pink, let me show you what this actually looks like. Build Pink is kind of deceptive. You know, people hear pink and they think, oh, that's going to be really pink. And Build Pink is more of a clear with a light pink tint to it. So it's not going to actually make my gel look pink, but it just really is going to kind of brighten up what's in there. And the Build and the Build Pink are both a little bit thinner than the Clear Sculptor. So I'm just going to use this to kind of thin out my gel a little bit. Maybe dilute that blue just a little bit. I think that looks about right now. So it's a little bit lighter. Again, not sure how it looks right there on camera. So it's a little bit, but a little bit lighter and a little bit thinner. So this is going to be a little bit more of the consistency that I want to work with. All right, I think we are good with our mix. What do you guys think? Put a little blue heart or something, put something blue in the chat if you're liking what our glitter mixture came up with here today, okay? All right, let's grab our nail. Let me put all of my glitters and things off to the side. So we've got our nail. Now on this nail, all we've done is put our base gel right onto that natural nail, okay? What we're gonna do now is, let me grab my brush. I'm gonna clean out a little bit of that extra gel from my brush. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna build out our extension and connect it to that natural nail. So we're gonna do that with our blue. And you guys, this blue is gonna be kind of a sheer color, okay? We didn't mix it into a solid color, we mixed it into our clear. So it's gonna be a clear extension. Now, when I work with my brush and apply the product here, a lot of times you guys will see me and I'll apply with the tube, but today we're using our mixture. So I kind of took a little bit of a scoop of our product, and notice that I've got product more on one side of my brush and not the other. I'll usually touch the empty side of my brush down onto my form and just kind of roll that product off of my brush. So it just kind of releases from the brush and it goes onto that form. And then I'm just gonna kind of clean out my brush a little bit, kind of bring it back to shape. Now I'm gonna work with that product, and I'm just gonna kind of float my brush over the surface of the product to move it where I want it to go. I'm not trying to brush it like I was brushing the base gel originally. I'm staying more on the surface of it and just kind of floating and using more soft, kind of a soft touch to this, and just kind of floating that product right up into those corners, connecting it, and then just kind of feathering that product down the length of my form until I get the length that I want. Now I think that's about the length. I think we're going to be good on that. So I'm going to turn this on the side. I'm going to use the edge of my brush, and I'm just going to kind of pull that product and just wipe that all the way back till it comes right up into that corner and kind of connects with that natural nail. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush out a little bit on the tile. Turn on to the other side. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Clean up that side, tucking that product right up into that corner, and I think we're good. I think I've got kind of the gist of the shape. We may touch this up a little bit more. We're definitely going to add a little bit more, but right now at this point, I'm going to get this into our light. Let me get that in there, and then again, I'll show you guys what I'm doing here. So we'll get that into our curing light, and again, that's going to go in there for another 30 seconds, just to kind of freeze that into place. And in the meantime, you guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of scoop a little bit of this gel back together. As I work, it kind of just gets a little spread out, so I'm just going to kind of scoop that back together. Then I can use a little bit more of that. Okay. All right, so again, we're just curing this, kind of freezing it into place for about 30 seconds. And now I've connected that free edge to that natural nail and cured it. So now I can actually remove that form. So I'm just going to pinch my form together underneath, pull that down, remove my form. So now you guys can see we've got that sheer blue, but we've got all of that sparkle and all of that glitter in there. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit more of this, and you guys, you could do, you know, if you want to just do the free edge, you could just do the free edge with that blue. If you want to kind of feather it back, let me grab a little bit more and show you. You can take a little bit more of that product kind of right at that seam. You could feather that and kind of fade it out. So I'm just showing you guys options here. So take the design and kind of create your own. Okay, so you can kind of do that fade out there. We're actually going to pick up a little bit more of our gel here, and I'm going to do a full cover kind of a color. Okay, so again, just kind of scoop a little bit of that gel up. Just going to kind of press that pearl right onto the nail, right up by my cuticle area, and I kind of bounce. Now I'm going to turn this on the side. I'm not going to work from the side, but I want you guys to kind of see what I'm doing. So I kind of bounce that product until it releases the majority of it. Let me get a little bit closer here. There you go. So again, I kind of bounce that product until it releases from my brush, and then I can move that product a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back on the side so that I can actually work with this. Again, I'm just kind of floating that brush over the product to kind of move it. Just kind of pushing that back towards the cuticle to get it nice and close to the cuticle. Get it as close to the cuticle as I can get without touching. And just going to kind of circular motions, moving that product up around that cuticle. Now you guys, at this point, I'm not trying to create a lot of thickness. I'm just going to try to create kind of the coverage that I'm looking for. So I'm going to actually make it a little bit thicker over that nail body area back here to give me more of that, a little bit more solid color. It's still sheer, but a little bit more color. And then maybe we'll pick up a little bit more of that blue and just bring that right down onto our free edge here, just to kind of even out the consistency of the color. So you can see that I've got kind of the same color all the way through. Otherwise, if I didn't add more product to my free edge would be a little bit more sheer than that nail body area. So just kind of making sure that I've got good consistency all the way through. Okay. Now, I'm going to cure this just for another 30 seconds, but you guys, I need you to give me another vote here. Do you want a little bit more sparkle, or are we good? Let me know in the chat. Put some stars or something into the chat so that I know if you want more sparkle. Because I think maybe I want more, but I'm not quite sure. So you let me know. You let me know in the chat. So our options would be to add a little bit more of our Mylar or a little bit more of our slithers here. Okay, you guys are saying we're good. Okay, all right. We're good, it's fine. Okay, sounds good. A couple of people said more sparkle, but the majority of you are looking like you're saying it's good. So we will leave it at that. And again, I'm gonna kind of clean out my brush. I wanna remove a little bit of that blue gel from my brush. So I'm just using, you guys, this is just a cheap little ceramic tile you can get at a hardware store. They might even give you a free sample, but don't ask for it. I mean, you could ask for it, but they are just like, you know, like a 99-cent little ceramic tile. So nothing fancy. All right, we're gonna set that gel off to the side so I don't stick my arm in it. And we're gonna go ahead and cap this nail. Now, you guys, you did see that I mixed all of that glitter into the gel. So the glitter is down in the gel, but I always like to cap my dimensional nails with a clear. This way it's going to really seal in. Let me get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing here. But by capping these with a clear, it's going to seal in that glitter. It's going to seal in all of that color. So when you do go to do your filing, it's not going to file out any of that glitter or that color. So it's going to really just secure everything in there and keep your dimension. It's actually going to add more dimension by adding this layer of clear on the top, because it just kind of separates the base of the nail, so that, you know, that bottom layer of the nail from what's on top of the nail. So you do see a little bit more dimension when you actually cap these. So I'm just kind of using my Build Pink, just kind of flowing that all the way through that whole extension of the nail. I'm going to grab my brush. If I need to touch up anything around the edges, make sure that I've got enough product around my edges, coming up all the way there. And then we're going to just freeze this layer in the light. Looks like I got a little piece of lint or something in there. But we're going to go ahead and freeze this into the light again for another 30 seconds. So just like we were doing before, just another quick 30-second freeze in the light. And then I'm going to check the structure of my nail. I'm going to check and make sure if everything has the right shape, if it has enough product everywhere. So we'll do that in just a couple of seconds. But in the meantime, I just grabbed a lint-free wipe and I just kind of folded that over my brush and just pulled out a little bit of the rest of that extra gel. Okay, so this way it's going to be nice and clean when I go to use it here. So at this point, let's take a look at this nail. So if you guys look from the side view, you can see we've got a good amount of structure right up through kind of that arch area, but we've got a bit of a dip down through that free edge. There you go, now you can see. So kind of that dip down right through here. So we're going to basically fill in from, I would say fill in from the stress area through about here to get a little bit better structure. And I'm going to come back from this direction. Same thing, I'm still going to be using my Build Pink. You can use your clear Sculptor if you prefer. If you prefer something a little less self-leveling. So the clear Sculptor is a little bit thicker, so it's not going to self-level as fast. The Build Pink that I'm using right now, this is going to move and flow a little bit more. So all I did was just kind of put a little line right down the center and just kind of feather that out to the sides. I'm going to get this back into the light. Again, I'm going to freeze that into place. So it's going to stay where it's at. And then I will check this one more time before I fully cure it, just to make sure that everything has the proper structure that I need. Okay. Now I know that wasn't in a full 30 seconds, but it's good enough to set it into place. And then we can check. All right, so I think at this point, we're looking pretty good. I think we're going to have enough structure through our arch right up here. We've filled in kind of that low area here. We're going to do a little filing right through this area, a little filing right through here to really perfect our shape. But at this point, we've got enough product on there. So this is going to go back into the light. Yes, back into the light one more time. And I'm going to set my timer. So this is going to go in for a full 60-second cure now, okay? So in the meantime, you'd be working on the other hand. So again, you guys, I always have my 2 trainer hands on my station here. If you're practicing doing full sets, it's great to have 2 hands because this way you can be working on one hand while the other hand is in the light and you can alternate back and forth. Same thing when you're working on an actual client, work on one hand while the other's in the light, and then again, alternate back and forth, and that way you're not going to be wasting any time when you're working on clients, okay? In the meantime, though, I'm going to go through and I'm going to close up all of my jars. I want to make sure that everything is closed and sealed so that when I do my filing, I'm not going to get any filing dust on any of my gels or anything like that. And I always try to clean up the nozzles and kind of clean things up as I go here so that, again, I don't contaminate things and things get messy. Especially when you're working with gels, you guys, gels are sticky, so if you don't keep the containers clean, they can get kind of gunked up pretty quickly. So that's why after every use, I always go through and I clean everything off really well. Even my spatula here, I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to grab one more lint-free, and I'm going to use a little bit of our On to the Next polish remover, clean that off. And you guys, I'm actually not going to clean off my gel from my tile just yet. I'm going to save this until the end just in case if I need to do any touch-ups. So I'm just going to set this off to the side so that way it doesn't get any dust or anything on there. Okay. Also make sure to close up your brush. I'm going to make sure to kind of wipe out a little bit of that extra gel from there. But close up your brush or set it somewhere in a drawer where it's not going to collect dust. Okay. All right. I'm going to clean out. You guys, let me just show you this really quick. This was the eyedropper that I used with that liquid art. To clean that out, all you need to do, just take a little bit of polish remover or swipe, or even alcohol works for that. Just kind of suck up a little bit of that polish remover into the eyedropper, And then I just kind of give it just a couple of squeezes and then squeeze out the rest of that, and that'll clean out your eyedropper and be ready for next time, okay? All right, our nail is cured. We're ready to go here. Now, when your gel does cure, it is gonna have a tacky surface on it. So I'm gonna grab my swipe. We're gonna use swipe. Take a little bit of that on my lint-free wipe again. And we are going to cleanse the surface of that nail. Now, I really want to make sure that I've wiped off all of that tacky finish, so that way I don't get any of that uncured gel up onto the client's skin or onto my hands as well. And let's grab our dust collector here. Guys, I'm using our cordless blinged out dust collector. Let's see if I can get you a good shot of that. So that's what I've got in here. If you didn't get the blinged out dust collector at our Black Friday sale, we do still have just our regular traditional dust collectors, but make sure that you are using a dust collector when you're working with acrylics, hard gels, really any nail products, and you're filing, so that you really keep your breathing zone safe and you keep the dust out of your lungs and out of your nose and your sinuses and all of that. So make sure that you've got a good dust collector that you're using. And notice that I did switch to my X-Cut carbide. Come a little closer there. Actually, let me dust this off so you can see what that really looks like. Okay, so this is our X-Cut carbide. Before we were using our sanding band, that's what we were using to prep the nail surface. Now we're going to be using our X-Cut carbide to take down the bulk of our nail and file this into shape. So let me turn on my dust collector. And we're going to turn our E-file to about 15,000 RPMs. And come back out just a little bit there. Okay. And we're going to start by just straightening out our sides, taking down any bulk from those edges. I'm pulling down on that left side. On the right side, I'll push back. This way, my rotation of my bit is going to be going basically the opposite direction that I'm pushing the bit. Okay, so I want to have a little bit of resistance as I push. Okay, so just straightening those out. I'm going to turn our figure on the side. I'm going to use that E-file here as well to just straighten out that lower arch. Now you guys, I'm going to come in a little closer here. I'm not coming all the way back up into the corner back here. Okay, I don't want that bit to come in contact with my client's skin, so I just push to about here. Okay, so it's not quite back to their skin. Same thing on the other side. Now on this side, I'm going to pull my bit down because again, I want resistance. I want to go against the rotation of the bit, so that way it's going to file nice and evenly. Okay. All right, so that's going to be nice and straight out. We've got our shape starting to come in there. I'm going to turn my hand, my client's hand, on the side. And let me come out just a little bit. There we go. We're going to work right up around the cuticle area, and we're going to thin and taper out that cuticle so we don't have a ledge right in the back. You can kind of see there's a little bit right through here. Let me come in a little closer. You can see there's kind of that ledge of product right here. We want to take that ledge down. We want to take that so it's nice and thin and tapered right around that cuticle area. Now, I'm not going to come all the way through to thin that out completely with this bit. This bit is very coarse. It is a coarse safety bit, or sorry, not a safety bit, our X-Cut, a coarse X-Cut. And I don't want to take this too thin because you can go through product pretty quickly with this bit. So I'm going to leave, now you can kind of see there's still just a little bit of a ledge right there, but we're going to come back with our other bit and clean that up in just a minute. Okay? In the meantime, we're going to come all the way down the arch of the nail. See how I kind of take down the bulk right where I need it? So I'm just going to take down bulk right through here, and then we're going to take down bulk through the free edge. So this way it's going to flow all the way down to that free edge. So just taking that bulk from the free edge, and then, so what's happening here, you guys, is my handpiece right here is actually kind of bumping into that nail as I'm trying to work. And I'm not able to get the proper angle with my bit. So I'm going to turn my handpiece off, or turn my E-file off. I'm going to open this up again. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to bring that bit a little farther out So now I've got a little bit more space through, oops, sorry guys, through the shank of that bit. This way, by having that little bit of extra length to my bit, I can work all the way up through the length of my nail without this part of my handpiece hitting that nail, okay? So again, we're still looking from the side view, but I'm just kind of creating that arch that I want, okay? Once I have my arch into place, I'm gonna look down the barrel of the nail. Come out a little bit here. All right, so we're gonna come looking straight down the barrel. I'm gonna use the top part of my bit to pull down the left side, take down the bulk from the left side. So you can start to see the nail is gonna start to get a little bit more tapered, a little bit more contoured. We're gonna come over to the right side. Let me see if I can get a better view for you here. It gets kind of blurry when I get to this step here, so I want to make sure that you guys are able to see that. Okay. All right, so same thing, we're going to use more of the base of the bit now, just pulling down that side, taking down the bulk. Once I get the bulk from the right side here, I can come all the way up, all the way over, really just kind of flowing my bit all the way through to make sure that everything starts to kind of blend together. Okay, back over to my other side. So now you can really start to see that nail is getting nice and smooth and contoured all the way through that surface, okay? All right, I do tend to go back to that side view one last time just to make sure that everything looks about right. And I think we're looking good from here. So let's go ahead and switch back to our sanding band one last time. Now you could go right to your hand file, but I do like to switch back to the sanding band just one more time to kind of clean up and really refine just a little bit more. We're going to turn our speed down to about 7,000 RPMs, and I'm going to follow through that same pattern that I just did before. So again, this is our sanding band. It's a medium grit sanding band. We're on 7,000 RPMs. Now you guys, remember when I showed you just a couple seconds ago that little bit of a ledge right through the back area here? Now what I'm going to do with my sanding band is now we can get that really nice and flush down to that natural nail. And again, the sanding band isn't going to damage that natural nail. It's just going to really help to kind of taper everything down and get that really nice smooth transition without a ledge in the back. Okay? We're going to again go from the center down the side of that nail, just kind of creating that arch. We're going to turn that nail looking from the free edge down the barrel, contouring everything here, just really refining, just kind of refining all the way through that nail, making sure everything is nice and even. Again, if you need to, you can use this under that lower arch. You can get a little bit closer back up into that corner, but you guys be careful that you're not cutting a notch into this corner, okay? I'm going to show you how to get that last little bit of acrylic, or sorry, we're working with gel today, that last little bit of gel out of the corner with our hand file. But again, same thing over here. If you need to, you can come a little bit closer into those sides, okay? All right, let's grab our file. And you guys, I have a file that I've already taken off my sharp edges, but if you don't know what that means, anytime you get a brand new file, it does have a little bit of a sharp edge. It's just how the files are cut when they're manufactured. So I always take another file. I have my little prep file here. I just take my file, run that over the top, kind of angle it, run it over those edges to really make sure that you've taken off those sharp edges so that you don't end up cutting your client, okay? All right, we're gonna go back to our perimeter. So we're gonna start on our sides. I'm gonna keep my file straight up and down. So all that you should see of that file is really that blue line down the center. That is gonna show you that you're not angling your bit or cutting in where you don't need to, okay? So when you're filing, keep that file straight in line. We're going to straighten out my sidewall here. Okay, nice and straight on the side. Same thing on the other side. We're going to straighten out the other side. Again, all I see is that blue line down the center of my file. I'm not angling in. I'm not trying to cut up into those corners there. Okay, just straight. Now, another thing to notice, do you see how I use my other fingers here to balance? I put pressure on the right side when I'm putting pressure with the file on the left side. Same thing here. I'll put pressure with my thumb on the left side when I put pressure with my right side and file. This way, you're going to really be able to get those nice, straight, sharp edges, okay? If I wasn't balancing, a lot of times what can happen is that nail can kind of wobble back and forth, and you tend to get a little bit more of a rounded, kind of a bulky look on the side. But if you're balancing, you're going to be able to keep that side nice and straight, okay? All right, let's come back out a little bit. I'm going to turn on the side, and this is where I'm going to get those last little bits of product that are kind of up into those corners. Now, I'm not just going to try to go into that corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line my file so that my file is straight in line with the finger. Do you guys see how I'm lining it straight in line with the finger? I'm not coming at an angle like this or like this, okay? Straight in line with that finger, and I'm going to position that file right through that extension. Just gently filing until that product comes straight out all the way from, let me grab my orange wood stick here. So it's going to come straight out from that cuticle area all the way through a straight line down that lower arch. Okay, so again, all the way straight down that lower arch. Let me dust this off so you can see a little better. Okay, so now we've completely removed that little bit of product that was hanging out, but our nail is still coming out nice and straight. Okay, let's turn that on the other side here. You guys, if you are new to our channel here, make sure that if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, get all this great free education. Okay. And somebody says, I'm still scared of the X-cut. I'm using your safety bits. Absolutely, you guys. If you're not quite comfortable, oops, where did it go? If you're not quite comfortable using that X-cut carbide bit that I was using, we do have the safety bits for you. So if you're maybe new to electric filing and you're not super comfortable just yet, definitely check out those X-cut or the safety bit course, okay? So it's a great alternative if you're not quite certain with the e-file just yet. But keep practicing and you'll get there, okay? All right, same thing, we just straightened out that lower arch. Now we're gonna come and just kind of taper up around the cuticle area, and again, bringing that product so that it's nice and flush down to that natural nail, and we don't have any ledges all the way around, okay? Just kind of cleaning that up. Come back out here a little bit. Coming around that cuticle area, through my sides, and just kind of tapering in on my sides, just kind of rounding. You guys, I'm not filing just kind of flat here. Let me come out just a little bit. I'm actually rounding the edge, so I'm coming around those sides to really give my nail really good contour. So kind of down and around, up and around, down and around, and up and around, okay? All right, let's take a look from the side. We're gonna just make sure everything is nice and tapered down to my free edge. Just kind of flowing through, all the way through. And then we're gonna turn this around. We're gonna look from the client's perspective. You guys, this is how I always finish my nails, looking from how the client is gonna look. Because if you're looking at the nails, or if your client is looking at her nails, she's going to tend to look at them from this direction. So we want to make sure that we're seeing exactly what she's seeing. So this is where I'm going to straighten out anything on my free edges. If anything may be crooked or lopsided, I can straighten that out here. I can check that point, make sure my point is exactly where I want it positioned. And then I'm going to look backwards down the barrel of the nail. So let me come in a little closer for you guys. There we go. So from this view, you can see if there's any little lumps or bumps or uneven spots. And just flow your file all the way from one side, keep it in motion all the way to the other side. This is how you're going to get a nice smooth finish all the way through that whole surface, okay? And again, you can see exactly where those high spots would be, any low spots, making sure that we really get everything smooth and even. Okay, I think we are looking good. Just one more quick pass right over that free edge. And I think I am liking this nail. What do you guys think of the shape so far? We've got a little bit more art to do, but what do you think of the shape? Are you liking that? Give me a little thumbs up in the chat if you're liking the shape. And we will set our dust collector off to the side. And come back here. Okay, so we're going to dust this nail off. Now I am seeing just a few little kind of frayed edges. Do you guys see how that little bit of Mylar is kind of poking through, poking out of my gel there? I'm going to take a brand new buffer. You guys, a brand new 180 grit buffer. Now, I know this looks used, and it has been used once or twice, but not on a full set or anything. So it does have a good amount of grit to it. That's why I say if you're going to be buffing at this point, make sure that it's a new buffer with a good amount of grit. You don't want to be smoothing this nail out. All I'm going to do is just a couple of little swipes through here to make sure those little bits of the glitters and things that are in the nail, that Mylar that's in the nail, isn't poking out. We want to make sure it's a little bit of a smoother surface, but not so smooth that it's going to make our top coat chip. Okay, so just a couple of little swipes on there just to make sure that those little bits of Mylar aren't poking out anymore. And then let's dust this off. Now I know those of you that are kind of regulars to our channel here, you think you know what time it is, but it's not time for top coat just yet. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more of a design on this nail. You guys, like I told you at the beginning of this nail, this is going to be a cracked ice kind of a look. So I'm going to take a little bit of our swipe, cleanse this nail, so you can see that now our nail does look kind of icy, but now we're going to make it look a little bit cracked. And to do that, we're going to use, I think what people are using the term of isolated chrome. So we're going to do a little bit of chrome on this nail, not on the whole hand, or not on the whole nail, but we're going to do some little cracked kind of a design. So I'm going to grab my, let's see here, what do we got? I'm going to grab another one of our just another little art palette. I'm going to take a little bit of our Ultimate Finish top coat. Let's see, take a little bit of our Ultimate Finish top coat, and I'm going to set that onto, again, guys, let me make sure that this is nice and clean. Make sure there's no dust on there. All right, so when I'm working with my chrome, I love using our Ultimate Finish top coat. This is a tack-free top coat, but it has a little bit of a grip to it. So it's going to work really, really well with your chrome powders. So I'm going to take a little bit of that just right onto our tile. Now, I'm going to grab my Micro Detailer art brush, and you guys can see this is a tiny, tiny little art brush. There's just barely a couple of bristles in there. So you can kind of see, just very, very tiny. I'm going to use this to do our design. Now, again, those of you that have been part of our channel here for a while, normally I would put a coat of our protein bond on here before I do my top coat and things like that. But I want to make sure that I have a clean, dry, non-sticky surface, because wherever we put our top coat, wherever we do our design, that's where I want my chrome to stick. I don't want my chrome to stick anywhere else but there. So let's just grab a little bit of our top coat here, and I'll kind of explain as I'm going to. But you want to make sure that your top coat, where you've got your design, is the only place that's going to hang on to that chrome. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that top coat, just kind of doing random kind of, let me come in a little closer so you can see. Just kind of random squiggly lines, kind of choppy lines. It's just going to look like this is broken ice. So anybody in colder climates, you guys know what I'm talking about? You know what the lake looks like when the ice starts to crack? Let me know in the chat. Let me know if you're in a colder climate and this is something that you could see happening. Let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear. So again, just kind of doing some just random shattered kind of lines here with my top coat. And you guys, it's kind of tricky. It's hard to see sometimes, but with this design, I'm not worried about them being super straight or perfect. You guys, the ice cracked on a lake doesn't crack perfectly, okay? So we're gonna get this into the light again. This is gonna go in now for only 30 seconds. So I'm gonna set that for 30 seconds. Again, we are back into the light. When you're doing the chrome, you want to make sure that you're not completely fully curing the top coat, because we want to have a little bit of that grip left to it, so it's going to grab onto our chrome when we apply that. I'm gonna grab just a little makeup applicator, you guys, just a little sponge makeup applicator. Now, I kind of did a trial run on this design. I really like how the more kind of the lighter gold looked on it, but I think on camera you guys are going to be able to see a little bit of the darker gold. Actually, I'm going to use the darker gold. So on camera I'm going to use the darker gold, but I personally would recommend the lighter one. So, but you guys can do whatever you like. So I'm going to take that chrome. I'm just going to take a little bit onto my makeup applicator here and just brushing that, kind of rubbing that onto the surface of that cured top coat. So again, you guys, this is the reason we didn't want to put our protein bond on and make the rest of the nail sticky, because we only want that chrome to adhere on our top coat. Okay, I'm just going to grab a really soft makeup brush and just dust off that extra. And anywhere that we didn't have that top coat is where our chrome, it's not going to stick to where we didn't have that top coat. Okay, so you can kind of see our little cracked design in there. But then to really make this stand out, I'm just going to kind of wipe away a little bit of that extra powder, making sure that's not on the finger there. We're going to take our Ultimate Finish top coat. Oh, actually, you guys, one more little quick cure. Sorry, I almost forgot about that. I am going to pop that back into the light for just one more quick cure, maybe like 15 up to 30 seconds, I would say, just to really kind of set that chrome into place. And that way, when you do your top coat, it's not going to smudge the chrome over the top. So just one of those quick little tricks that really helps to keep your chrome lasting a little bit longer. Okay, now you guys, those of you that know what time it is, you can go ahead and start our top coat chant in the chat. If you are new to our channel, first of all, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. But now we do a little chant in the chat at the end of our chat. That's what I'm going to say. But go ahead and do our top coat chant. If you don't know what I mean by that, just kind of follow the crowd in the chat. So we're going to do a coat of our Ultimate Finish top coat. And we're going to seal this chrome design. We're going to seal that cracked ice look. And let me come in a little closer here for you. So now with that top coat, you're really going to see that icy blue underneath, all that sparkle underneath. You see that chrome, that isolated chrome, all the way through our cracked nail, our cracked ice design. Okay, and one of the reasons I really like using the Ultimate Finish is because it is a little bit of a thicker top coat. So when you're doing kind of some of these chrome designs, you're going to see a little bit of texture to them, but that Ultimate Finish top coat being a little bit thicker is going to fill that in. So it's going to be a little bit more of a smooth finish for your nail. Okay. All right, you guys, one more time, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I did put the nail one more time back into our light to cure. We're normally with our Ultimate Finish, we would leave that in for a full 60-second cure, but I just am going to put that nail in there and freeze that into place for, it's probably been about 20 seconds or so, and then we'll show you guys the final look here, so you don't have to wait until the end of that curing cycle. But hopefully this will give you guys some inspiration during these chilly winter months to not be out on those frozen lakes, but to do some fancy nails inspired by those frozen, icy, cracked lakes. And again, you guys, I know camera just does not do this justice, so make sure that you try this design. And if you do try it and post it up on your social media, make sure to tag Young Nails so that we can see what you did. Make sure to check out our Discord channel, our Discord server, and post your pictures there so we can see them. But again, you guys, check out all the rest of our over 3,000 videos here on our YouTube channel. Get some great education, subscribe to our channel, and you guys join us next time. I believe we'll be back again with our normal regular schedule next week. We usually do Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday here live on YouTube. So make sure to set those notifications so that you can always join us. And make sure to subscribe, you guys. Hit that subscribe button, get free education, and thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful new year. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.